Hello and welcome to Fast Horses Today for Saturday. Today is April 4th and it is Santa Anita Derby Day over at the Great Race Place. So that's certainly one of their big days they have of the winter-spring meeting. They got a long race card here. They start a little earlier than usual. They start at 12 o'clock Pacific, so that's 2 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone for the Santa Anita Derby card. So let's get started for Saturday's action. So I do have some win bets that I like early in the card. Then we'll also talk a little bit about the Santa Anita Derby. So I'm going to move over to the second race of the day. Second race is a first level allowance race, also with a $50,000 claim option. So that $50,000 claim option was important because it certainly helped make this race. There are several horses in for that $50,000 claim. So they're going 6.5 on the dirt. So this is a dirt sprint. Again, first level allowance race here. There's a couple Bob Baffert horses here that are short prices and certainly deserve to be based on how they performed. I'm going to go against both of them. I have a win bet I'm going to make, that being on the 6 horse, Santarena, for Mark Glatt. Mark Glatt puts Antonio Fresu on the horse. Antonio Fresu has certainly ridden this horse many times, and this horse is coming back from a bit of a long layoff, just like a couple of other of these horses are too. So I really like Santarena. This horse has run some really good races over at Santa Anita, and has knocked heads with some really good horses. I mean, he ended up coming second twice to Eagles Flight. If you remember Eagles Flight, that was Flightline's little brother. Not exactly sure what happened to Eagles Flight. I don't think we've seen him in a while, but ran pretty well with him, and also just knocked heads with a couple nice sprinters in his career. This horse always seemed to find a very tough race. Therefore, you see the record of 11 starts, 1 win, 5 seconds. I like this horse off the layoff. I think this horse is going to have a nice trip from this outside post, being in the 6 hole, 6.5 furlongs. Fresu can kind of watch the race develop in front of him. This horse has shown different styles, has definitely been on the lead, close to the lead. I think this horse can finish up nicely here based off his works. 5-1, I think we'll get something like that for this horse here. We're going to see if Mark Glatt can get this horse off the bench and get us a winner here in the second race with the 6 horse, Santarena. We're going to move right to the next race, being the third race. The third race is a maiden special weight race. These are open company horses. They're going 6 furlongs on the dirt. 3-year-olds. It's a sprint race here. And I've got another Mark Glatt horse. So we'll see if we can get a Mark Glatt daily double. Going to go with the 1 horse here, who is Duke Silver. Duke Silver, as I mentioned, comes out of the Glatt barn. Kazushi Kimura takes the call. Now, Kimura rode this horse the first time this horse ran in his career debut. Ended up coming third to Crude Velocity, who we'll see Crude Velocity running in that second race. I like the race that this horse ran there. I think the horse had significant trouble, which certainly cost the horse a chance. I don't know if it would have beaten Crude Velocity that day, but certainly I think could have finished better. So I think that significant trouble, really just, definitely affected his performance. And I like the way the horse, seemed to overcome that adversity. 5-1 here on Duke Silver. Again, we're going to go up against Bob Baffert, who has, short price here in the 2 horse. And we'll see if we can beat that short price. 5-1 on the 1 horse, Duke Silver for Mark Glatt. Going to make another win bet on the 1 horse, Duke Silver, in the third race. All right, now let's go right to the fourth race. Fourth race. This is one of the feature races on the day. This is one of the California bred races here, stakes races. They're going 6.5 furlongs on the dirt. And this is the state bred Echo Eddie. Now the Echo Eddie, this is a 3-year-old race, 3-year-old boys. And some nice horses signed on here in this Echo Eddie at 6.5 furlongs. No secret here. I'm going to go with Sammy Davis. Sammy Davis is 8-5 in the program. I guess he's the second choice. We'll see, who ends up being the betting favorite. It could be either Thirsty Rebel or Sammy Davis. Sammy Davis comes in for the John Sadler barn. Ismael Jaramillo takes over. Now, it looks like, I don't know if the Sadler barn is shaking things up, but it looks like he's taken Hector Berrios off a couple of his horses and putting Ismael Jaramillo on a horse. So we'll see. First time Ismael Jaramillo on this horse here. Certainly not a bad thing. Now, Sammy Davis was a horse that, there was a lot of buzz with this horse when they unveiled the 2-year-old California breds over at the Del Mar Summer Meet. So this horse certainly had a lot of buzz, lived up to that billing, having won his first 2 starts of his career, breaking the maiden and also winning the graduation stakes. This horse doesn't have a long record at Santa Anita, just having one start over the dirt, that being in the Cow Cup Derby. So he tried 2 turns that day, and I thought he ran a very nice race, ended up coming second to start the ride. So, they followed that up with an open company allowance race going down the hill. It was a short field, but I thought the horse ran a really nice race that day. They certainly tried to grass there. The horse has grass breeding, but, has definitely shown a definite ability on the dirt. So I think Sammy Davis coming back to the dirt, 6.5 furlongs, 8-5. I think he's worth a win bet. Maybe you want to make some daily doubles or even a pick 3 in that 2nd through 4th races there. So we'll go with Sammy Davis in the 4th race, that being the 5 horse. All right, let's go over to the 10th race of the day. The 10th race is the one that everyone's been waiting for. This is the Santa Anita Derby, the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby, going 1 1/8 on the dirt. And, these are 3-year-olds, on their way to the Triple Crown races. Certainly Bob Baffert's represented, which we would come to expect there in Southern California. Now, the Santa Anita Derby does have a field of 7 here signed on. And, some really nice horses here. I mean, Bob Baffert's couple of his horses, you add up the money, these horses are worth over $3.5 million if you added, the purchase prices for both of them, that being the 1-horse Cherokee Nation, the 2-horse Potente. I don't see Cherokee Nation today, that being the 1-horse. I mean, this horse comes off a bang-up maiden win, maiden special weight win where he beat older horses, has a huge buyer figure. I don't know if that's going to get it done here. Go to the 2-horse Potente. Potente is the Bob Baffert other horse here. This horse, 2 starts here. I think Potente's got a really big shot here at 2-1. So certainly no secret there. Potente broke his maiden, at 6 furlongs and, really showed a lot of guts in that race. And then also just showed a ton of ability going right back into stakes company in the San Felipe, which is a 2-turn race. And, he got it done there. He ended up being Robusta. Robusta's in this race. I don't like Robusta much here, but I do think Potente just offers up a lot of upside, that being his first time around 2 turns and getting the job done. So Potente certainly has a big shot here. We'll see if this horse improves off that last race. This horse being by Into Mischief out of an Awesome Again mare. I mean, that just says distance. I mean, Into Mischiefs can run all day, as we've seen, over the course of his stallion career. So we'll see. Potente is certainly a big shot there. I do like Potente. The 3-horse Vitruvian Man for Doug O'Neill, I think they just probably put this horse in to fill the race maybe. I don't know, but not much of a shot there. O'Neill's other horse, Robusta. Robusta ran a huge race in the San Felipe to come second to Potente. This horse shows a lot of energy, but I don't know. I think maybe... there's a few of them better than Robusta here. Maybe this horse can get a slice. I don't know. I do like So Happy. So Happy being the 5-horse for the Mark Glatt barn. Now, I think Mark Glatt's got several live horses, throughout the day today. So Happy I liked last time in the San Felipe. This was his first time going 2 turns. Mike Smith was on the horse. That was the 3rd start of this horse's career. This horse had runs, in two sprint races. Ended up breaking his maiden, over at Del Mar in late fall in a really nice fashion. That was at a big price, but, we'll put that aside because the horse did follow it up with a big win in the San Vicente. So that was at 7 furlongs. I'm going to give So Happy another shot here in this Santa Anita Derby. Maybe that last race he just needed to experience of 2 turns. He ended up getting beaten by Potente and Robusta. We'll see if So Happy can improve off that. But if you're playing in, the pick 5 or the pick 6 or anything, So Happy probably would be worth putting in. And then finally the 7-horse, who is Intrepido. Intrepido comes out of the Jeff Mullins barn. Now Mullins has been just going great guns here in the Santa Anita meet. His horses all just seem to be happy and running well in all different types of levels and distances and surfaces. Intrepido 7-2 in the program. Hector Barrios on there. Now Barrios has been riding this horse pretty much from the start. His first, the initial race from Intrepido's career, Julian Leperoux was on the horse that day. I can't remember why that was the case, but ended up running up against Brandt. But after that run against Brandt last year, this horse followed that up with some really nice races, winning at a 2-turn race at Del Mar, breaking the maiden at a mile, and then winning the Grade 1 American Pharoah. So that was a pretty nice race there. They put the horse in up against Ted Nafi, in the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile. The horse just really didn't get out of the gate much. A lot of work to do in a race like that. So, just kind of ran around the track. They gave him a little bit of a break. They brought him out for the Robert Lewis race. And Robert Lewis race, being a two-turn race, I thought Intrepido ran a really nice race. Hector Berrios was intent on getting the lead, and he ended up running head-and-head with Plutarch. And Plutarch, we're not going to see Plutarch in any of the Triple Crown races. He got injured, but Plutarch might have been Bob Baffert's best horse, best 3-year-old. I don't know, but Plutarch ran a huge race. Intrepido came second to him. If I had to pick a horse, I would take a shot with Intrepido. But, if you're playing multi-race wagers, I think if you put the 2, 5, or 7 in the Santa Anita Derby, you'll have it, covered. But, if I had to make a pick, I'm going to go with the 7-horse Intrepido, and we'll pull for Jeff Mullins. He's had a really good meet. We'll see if, he can cap it off with a Santa Anita Derby win. Mullins has certainly had a lot of nice history with the Santa Anita Derby over the last couple decades with several wins. So we'll go with that. But anyway, that's the Santa Anita Derby. Now let's recap the day and recap the bets. Okay, so for April 4th, Saturday, Santa Anita Derby Day, we've got 3 win bets to make here throughout the card. We're going to go early. We're going to go with the second race. Make a win bet on the 6-horse, Santarena. The third race, the 1-horse, Duke of Silver. The 4th race, the 5-horse, Sammy Davis. So those are 3 win bets I'm going to make, and if you're going to bet the rest of the card, good luck in the Santa Anita Derby. I do like the 7-horse Intrepido in that race. So whatever you decide to do, I wish you the best of luck. Let's wish the folks over at Santa Anita a very happy, safe day of racing this Santa Anita Derby Day. Let's wish ourselves some good luck and some good trips. As we know, that makes a difference between winning and losing in a day, so let's hope we can get that done. So again, I thank you so much for watching Fast Horses today and listening to the picks. Thank you to everybody who's hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate you, whether you did it from day one or did it in most recent week. Thank you so much. If you haven't done so, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button for me. It doesn't cost you anything. It just delivers the content to you for free. Think of it as like an Uber Eats or DoorDash that doesn't charge you. You can like or dislike, make comments, make good comments, make bad comments. I promise to respond to everything. Let's create a discussion. So have a wonderful Santa Anita Derby Day over at the Great Race Place. Let's see if we can get some winners. We'll be back tomorrow for more coverage over the weekend. Thank you very much and happy Santa Anita Derby Day.